This is a very interesting boat. This is an Explorer 62. Now the story behind this is the owner of the company is a very experienced boater. Didn't feel there was anything on the market that suited their style of boating. So he did what anyone would do and started his own company and built one. And in fact, it's a fairly young company. It's been about 3 or 4 years, I think. They're already up to boat number 8. So it's worked out really well. And it's a really fascinating boat. Now the Explorer kind of refers to the fact this is not a fast planing boat. This is about going out and having a great time on the water. And that's what this does. We're going to step on here. We're going to show you all of this, but I do like the fact that it's got the glass panel and there's lights in the garage so you can illuminate your tender at night. That's rather cool. You don't have to have that. You can have just a plain panel if you want to. You don't have to have the glass. And in fact, because it's a small company, it's what they refer to as a boutique company, an awful lot of this is completely configurable. So if there's things you don't like from the color to the setup, they'll change it for you. This is all freestanding furniture out here, so you can have this, you can have your own choice, you can put here whatever you want, and of course all of this then moves around. So if you want to change it around and have these settees looking out over the side, then you can do. That's not a problem. If we head over onto this side, there's a couple of neat things here. One of the things I quite like is the fact that we've got the shower built into the overhead. Normally the showers on these, they just sort of pull out and you're like a wand shower. But that is, yeah, you just come out and stand on that. You've got the drain underneath here and the shower control is down there. And in fact, also in here, all the fillers are here as well. So waste, diesel, water, all of that is all tucked away underneath there. And the other thing we've got back here, in fact, is the joystick. So it's a docking station. Basically, these size boats are pretty much owner operated always. So this kind of thing to make boating easy is very helpful. This is a speaker. There's speakers all around this boat, and there's fridges all around this boat as well, actually. I've seen an awful lot of fridges on here. But the idea was to create something that for staying on board in the Med, you've just got this wonderful, massive, really open, relaxing area, and it works brilliantly. In fact, you can enclose this. There's a track here, and you can see these little tiny slots in the deck. So you can in fact put a canopy that wraps around this and encloses all of this, but in fact a bit further on that encloses the doors anyway. So, but it does mean that if you want to have this in the winter all closed up, that's not a problem. Fridges start pretty much straight away. Fridges is very much a theme on here. This I like. It's like a little wet bar area, but you're seeing these wonderful things like this tap here. If I find the controller for that, where's it gone? There it is. Look at that, a waterfall tap. I think that was wonderful. I really like that. In fact, that's quite deep, so if you wanted to chuck a load of ice in there, then you could do. But there is an ice maker underneath anyway. And a bit of storage. Now again, this is where it gets really interesting because they've got this completely opened out. And in fact, you can see as well, with the windows all the way around, it's a very, very open area in terms of view and light. There are doors that slide across. You can see one here and you can see the track that it follows, but there's one there as well. So this can become a completely enclosed solid cabin, but you don't have to have it that way. You can have it open as it is at the minute. And another very clever thing is that all of these are freestanding. So if you want to push this out and have it on the edge, then you can do. We can bring it in, and these are heavy and magnetic, so you can put these around wherever you want. So you could have it down here, for example, like that, have it facing inwards. You could bring it right round, put it there and sit out looking out over the balcony. Fantastic. That's really clever. There's a lot of clever thinking in this. You can feel that it's been designed by somebody that's actually spent some time doing some boating and going, do you know what we actually use this boat for? Well, let's build it for that. Side door there. We'll take a wander around the front and up to the flybridge, I think, in a minute. We'll head inside first of all. We've got the Fusion Hi-Fi on this one. This is a bit of storage in here. We've got a TV here that rises out of this section, so it obviously will completely retract out of the way. One of the owners on a boat has said, well, I don't want to lose the storage that you lose obviously with the TV dropping away. So what they've had is storage along there and the TV that comes out of the ceiling instead. So again, if you want to change things like that, it's not a problem. They'll do that for you. And in fact, that applies up here as well, because we've got the galley up here next to the helm, The logic being you don't spend an awful lot of time actually cruising. You spend most of your time at anchor in a beautiful bay, and so spaces used for driving the boat are pretty much then lost. So they've deliberately gone for no helm seat here and made this all part of the galley. However, if you want a helm seat, of course you can have one, and in fact you can extend this galley if you want to. So there is a unit you can have here with a big fridge freezer and a pantry in. On this particular boat it's been kept on a slightly more minimal basis so that it completely opens this whole area up as one. And then here you've got things like fridge, a bit of storage, we've got mealer cooking and the hob as well, of course, and a dishwasher over on this side. And this is the helm. Now there's very much, the logo for the boat is an elephant. You can see it here. As soon as you know it's an elephant, it becomes obvious. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And then you've got your screens here. It's all like a glass cockpit sort of setup, really. There's no dials as such. It's all on here. And this then takes you into where you can have navigation on here. You can have whatever you want, radar, etc. But also operating system, which is what we're looking at now. So this is taking us into things like the lighting. So everything on here is configurable. You can go to main deck, for example, and see what's switched on and switched off and actually control it from here as well. We can come out of there. We could go into air conditioning, so you can see all the different temperatures on the boat and configure those how you want them. We can go into, what else have we got on here? Tankage is on here, fresh water, black water, fuel, grey water, all that kind of thing. So the whole boat can be configured from there. And then we've got the Volvo instrumentation here as well, so 4 screens in total. Which is on IPS, we'll take a look at those. And you can see, of course, we've got the throttle controls here, the bow thruster, the trim tabs, and also the IPS control just here. But another thing we've got here is a side access door, and another thing you notice is that this is pushed right forward. Quite often with boats, typically, if you look at the ones next door, for example, you've got the windscreen fairly well back and then sunbeds or whatever on the front. Well, this, they've pushed this right to the very front of the boat, and what that does, and bear in mind this is a 62-foot boat, it gives you a huge amount of main deck space. Just vast. From here right the way back is quite a long walk. It's a very interesting design. Let's head on a bit further, more to see. A bit more storage in there. And another side access door here. These are great because, as I say, looking at an owner-operated boat, the ability to move around very easily when you're docking and that kind of thing is very helpful, but also it's brilliant for ventilation, of course. There is air conditioning, you can close it all up and air condition it if you want, but a lot of the time you just want to have everything open and let the air flow through. One of the things that I like is the metalwork on this, which is normally stainless steel. On this is like a bronze colour, and you see this everywhere. Again, it's configurable. If you prefer the stainless steel, then of course you can have it. But this, I think, looks really nice, and you see it dotted around on the door handles in places like this. I think that's really lovely. We've got some of the switch panels are here, as you can see, and there's a wine cooler down here as well. And then down here, it's a 3+1 cabin configuration, and I will explain that when we get to the +1. But we'll start right at the very front with the VIP cabin. Again, you're seeing these bronze colours here and in the door. And again, you can change that if you want to, but I think that's super cool. And there we go. So we're right up to the front of the boat, big hull windows on here. And these circular sections are opening sections. We've got storage in here, of course, it's here. It's down along here. That's a little escape hatch right at the very front. If you can just see that one there. And then over here, hanging locker and AV equipment built into the bulkhead as well. And this has its own ensuite, which is not there. Let's try over here, shall we? There we go. So sink is there. Again, look at these wonderful taps. I love these. And you're thinking, well, what taps? Where are they? Well, they're right here. How cool is that? That's fantastic. Big deep sinks as well. And then showers in here. And you're thinking, that's great. But isn't there something missing? Yes, and yet no, because it's under here. The idea being, of course, you don't tend to use both at the same time. So that's either a really nice big toilet compartment, or drop that away, it's a really nice big shower. And yes, you're now thinking exactly what I'm thinking, which is you could do both at the same time. Probably not. Anyway, moving on. I have strange thoughts when I'm touring these boats, don't I? This is day heads in here. Very similar arrangement with the loo down underneath there, so you get the big shower and the big area here as well. There's also a door in behind here, and that takes you into cabin 3, so that all those 3 cabins are en suite. And that's in here. Really good size. And again, of course, lockers here, down in here. And look at the headroom. Look at this. 62-foot boat. It's incredible, isn't it? Hull windows are here in the side of the hull, best place for them, and AV equipment as well. Now, one thing I really like about this area is, as ever with boats, space and storage is kind of optimum, really. What they've done with this is they've put this in here, which is a huge drawer for bedding or towels, as we've got here, or whatever else. And what that does, of course, is it utilises this space that's underneath here. It's very clever. I like that. Let's close that one up again. What else have we got here? That one there, just a bit of storage. And then we'll come back again. Owner's cabin is back here. Full beam. Just a really nice size. And I love this sort of marble finish here. I'm not worried whether that's real marble or not. I suspect not, but it looks like it. And it's super cool. Very, very Italian. This is storage along here. If you want to, they'll put higher ones in, so you've got more storage, or you can have it low profile like this. Again, all owner configurable. And if we come back here, look how thick these doors are. Well, then we've got the ensuite. So the loo is down there, twin sinks, again with these funky taps. And a really big shower in here, look at this. Rainfall shower, and you've got the wands there as well. Very nice, very nice. And you might be thinking, well, that's great, but it's a bit lacking in hanging storage, isn't it? Well, actually, no, it's not, because if we have a little trundle around this side, it's all around here. So we've got shelves, we've got hanging there, we've got hanging here. In fact, what you can do if you want to is, instead of having that door there, you can have that door here, across here, and so basically that then extends all the way out across, and that mirror then moves onto the front of that door. So you get a little bit less sort of footprint here, but you get a bit more storage. Superb. There we go. Big cabin, isn't it? Right, I'm going to show you that +1. So what they've got is what they call the Harry Potter cabin, and you'll see why. It's because it's under the stairs. Now, what you can do with this is you can spec this how you like. It has a little utility area if you want to, extra storage, a pantry, more refrigeration, or you can do this if you do want an extra cabin. This is brilliant. For example, if you've got kids and politics demand that it's not a good idea for them to share the same cabin, well, then you've got this space here. But in fact, that is a full-size adult berth. It's a really good overflow. It's a really good place for a bit of storage. You don't need to use this. Obviously, you could just put some boxes on here and use it for storage if you wanted to. But yeah, it's just a useful extra space. And then that one, of course, would go straight across to the day heads for use at night. So yeah, really big 3-cabin layout, and that's the +1 if you want it. Fantastic. What's quite neat actually is that this cupboard here, this section of this cupboard, is storage for this cabin. Look at this. There we go. That's down under into there. Is that half of there? It's cunning, isn't it? There we go. That looks nicer, doesn't it? And it does feel like a big boat. As I say, it's a 62 footer, which is a reasonable size, but it feels a cut above because of the height and the space and everything else. Yeah, it's intriguing. Let's go look at the decks. We'll look at the flybridge, and I'll take you down and show you the engine space. So we'll come right up through here. I think we'll come back and out just so we've lapped around the whole boat. Side access here if you're alongside a dock, that's very useful. Another interesting thing is, you know how most boats have got the stainless steel rails around them? This hasn't got any. What they've done is just brought the sides up. So you're very much safe and enclosed within the boat. This here it's well above waist height, but no rails. Again, it's that sort of super yacht vibe. And this area they've deliberately kept very small because this is what I was talking about earlier. They've used all of this for the main deck by keeping this helm well forward. So there's a little seating area up here, but you don't get the big sunbeds and everything else. You get all the space back there instead. That's that access that we saw in that forward cabin. This is interesting. You've got the cleats here as normal, but then what they've done is they've put this brake in the front. What that means is when you're in the med and you're bringing up the line that you bring around to the front, rather than putting it in over the boat and getting everything dirty, you just bring it around and run it through here. And if I open that little chap there, there we go. You can see exactly how that works. So that line now just comes up into here. It doesn't come into any of this deck area whatsoever. So all the muck and dirt you tend to get on these lines stays contained. And in fact, they've even put a deck wash in here so that when you've done it, you can pull this out and hose it all down. And twin anchors. When did you last see twin anchors on a yacht of this size? But the owner of this particular boat, they spend an awful lot of time at anchor. They just want to go out, find a lovely bay, drop anchor, and they'll be there for a week. So they wanted to make sure they had super security. That hatch there takes you down to the anchor chain locker, of course, and you can see how they run up through here. In fact, that is the anchors themselves. You can just see them hanging down there. So they will be there. Again, it's quite sort of super yachty looking, isn't it? Let's drop that back down. Spin that back round. Do the same with that one. And we'll continue. This is a spray finish on here, this colour scheme. Got a dark grey on here, there's a light grey option, there's a white option, there's a blue option. So if you don't like this, again, you can configure whatever you want there. This does look smart though. This is this side door that we saw. It comes out, it comes out from the side. And this is the stairs up to the flybridge. Look how they put this sort of forward and to the side. Normally they come right down into the cockpit. With this one, they've actually put them behind this bulkhead here. It's rather nifty, isn't it? So this will take us on up to the flybridge, as you've probably worked out for yourself. And again, you're seeing the benefit of the fact that because they've brought that main deck, brought even that main deck all the way forward, you get a colossal amount of space up here. Quite often on boats, you know, with a flybridge, you lose a lot of it to the foredeck. This you don't, because if you come up here, you can see how we're close to the front of the boat. That is excellent. Sunbathing here, as you can see, that's a really nice place to be when you're underway. And then again, they've deliberately kept this to a minimal area because it's not a boat to be out cruising in all day long. What the owners of this tend to do is go out, find a lovely bay, anchor up for the week, and so they're thinking we just don't want to lose too much space to the helm, so they kept this really minimalist. And so that's why you've got things like these sections here which lift up or fold away for the Raymarine, so that again, operating system or navigation or whatever else you want to have on there, and this one as well with the Volvo Penta engine instrumentation and the Fusion Hi-Fi. It's all there and it can all be kind of packed away effectively. Helm is here. These steering wheels, by the way, I didn't show you this downstairs, that's fixed and that rotates around it. How cool is that? Let's drop that one back down. And then of course you've got compass, you've got your engine controls here, your IPS joystick, bow thruster, trim tabs and so on. And what they've done then is this is another one of these movable backrests, so you can move this back quite heavy, and as I say, it's magnetic. It stays in place there, and that creates your helm when you're underway. When you're stopped, you bring that back forward, and then this gives you a massive sort of upper lounge area, really, doesn't it? Table drops and folds, so if you want that down as a coffee table, you can do. And then of course there's the hard top on top. Now this has got the slats in that move, so you can have those flat, or you can bring them up as you've got them now to let the light and the air through. And this, I think, is a work of genius, because normally the tops of these bar areas come up through 90 degrees and get right in your way of serving food. With this, it comes up on cantilevers, and that gives you this wonderful serving area here, so you can be cooking your stuff, pop it up onto there. That is one of those ideas where when you've seen it you think, why aren't they all like that? That's genius. And then underneath here we've got storage, more fridges. There's one there, there's one there. I saw another one somewhere. Where do I see it? Down there. I think somebody said to me there are 8 fridges on this boat, and then they've kept this area completely open, so you can put lounges on here as we've got at the minute. You could put chairs out here, bean bags, use this however you wish. And look how they've got this, instead of being a usual sort of stainless steel or teak, they've got this padded material, and they've colour coded that to the colour of the boat. Absolutely fantastic. And talking of colour coding, all your radar and your sat downs, all of that, all colour coded as well. It's really, really smart. There we go, you can see that leg now for that table, the way that comes up and down. But that's a nice big area because, as I say, the main deck goes so far forward on this boat. That's brilliant. Okay, let's press on a bit further. This drops down, this door here, you can see how it pins in place, and you can pull that out, and then that folds down. There we go, like so. And so that becomes part of the floor area when you're up here, if you want it to. And then it clips into place very solidly, which is a very good idea, because people always grab onto that as they come up and down. And that's toughened glass. You can stay, I reckon you stand about 10 people on that. You wouldn't, but you could. There we go, let's come back down here. I'm going to take you down now. I'm going to show you that garage. I'm going to show you, there's another utility area, and I'm going to show you the engine space. But isn't that a wonderful open area? When you consider that so many boats now are going for this whole beach club thing where you're much more outdoors, you're much more connected with the water, well, this does that brilliantly. Good. Let's come back here, down these steps. It's a high-low platform. So the idea is you raise the garage door, you lower the platform, your tender slides out. I'm guessing you could probably put a jet ski on there as well if you wanted to. There we go, that's a Williams 325 in there. So quite a neat little garage. And as I say, you can illuminate that. You've got your glass panel there, it's going to look really funky at night. And then we've got the passerelle that extends out of here. We often talk about these and the fact when you're stern to berthed in the med, that's the way on. Well, you're seeing it in action now. That's what that does. So that retracts completely into there, and now obviously that stairway then comes into play as well. But this stairway lifts. Little deck shower here as well. So again, obviously you've got that shower that we saw in the overhead, but down here if you just want to hose the tender off or something like that, then you can do it. Okay. Now this is very much an owner-operator boat, so you don't really get a crew cabin as such. What you get is this utility area. However, there is a Pullman here, so this will drop down over here if you really wanted the occasional extra space for your daughter's boyfriend or an unruly teenager. Well, then you've got it. Sink here, as you can see, little bits of alcove storage. Washing machine is down here as well. As I say, it's really more of a utility space, and in fact some people are doing away with this altogether and making this all for things like washing machines and dryers and so forth, which makes a lot of sense. If you come right on through, we've got wet room here, so toilet and shower. That's very handy because of course it's straight off of the bathing platform, so when people are in splashing around in the water and someone's going to use the loo or get a shower off, you can do that without going further into the boat if you wish to. And then finally there's a door in here, and this, I'll push it inwards rather than put it towards me, will take us into the engine space. So things like generator are in here. There's a Seakeeper gyro stabilizer in here. There are fin stabilizers on this one as well, Humphrey fin system. and also, of course, engines. Now these are a pair of D8 IPS 800s. They're 600 horsepower each, and they're giving this boat about 21 knots flat out. So she'll cruise at about 16. That'll give you about 400 miles of range, or drop it down to 10 knots, which is like your eco speed. That'll take that up to 600 nautical miles of range. This is the tender garage here. Of course, you lose height with these, always, but that's the inevitable compromise of a tender garage. But nonetheless, you can still get in and around and between these. There's actually a water maker on this one as well, tucked down in the back. And you can see, if we come right around here, that's the pods there, or the top of the pods at least, at the back. Like so. Very good. Battery systems are in here as well. That's these fellas over here. And there's another access into this area. So this ladder here will take you straight up into the cockpit, which is very handy, either as an emergency route out, or if you want to get in here without going into the bathing platform. Little camera underneath there as well. Keeping an eye on this area. Fuel filters are here where you can get to them easily. And then we've got a lot of the circuit breakers are down here as well. Excellent. It's intriguing, isn't it? That's that hatch that's in the deck. Brilliant. Okay, let's come back out of here. And we'll head back out onto the bathing platform. And I think we'll call that a pretty comprehensive tour. Massive thanks to Prime Yachts in Mallorca. They gave me a shout and said you really need to come have a look at this one, and they were dead right. That's been absolutely fascinating. Massive thanks as ever to you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts on that one. I think that's been a really, really interesting boat to have a look at, and we'll catch you on one of these very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.